For decades, the sound of an amusement park was the roar of a wooden roller coaster. You know the one. That iconic, deafening clatter of steel wheels on a wooden track. Rides like the legendary Tremors were a rite of passage. It was a rattling, thrilling battle between you and the rails where you felt every single joint and every drop. It was raw. It was visceral. But that sound and that feeling are starting to disappear. Tremors is just the latest classic Woody to have its wooden heart swapped out for a soul of steel. So, is this a life saving upgrade for an aging legend? Or are we erasing the very thing that made these rides so special in the first place? Let's dig in. To get what's being lost or gained, you have to understand what made wooden coasters legends to begin with. Before multi-million-dollar steel monsters dominated park skylines, these wooden giants were the kings. They were these massive, sprawling works of art made of lumber that promised a unique kind of terror. They weren't just rides, they felt like living, breathing things that would sway and groan as the train thundered over them. When Tremors opened at Silverwood back in 1999, it was a perfect example of this. It was an instant classic, famous for diving underground into four different tunnels and delivering that aggressive, out of control feeling that coaster fans live for. It wasn't celebrated for being smooth, it was celebrated for being relentlessly wild. That signature rattle, the violent airtime, the sense that the whole structure was part of the chaos. That was the point. You didn't just ride a coaster like Tremors, you survived it. And that's the catch. Wood, you know, is wood. It gets old, it expands, it contracts, and it gets weaker. The constant force of a heavy train hitting it at 50 miles per hour, day after day, year after year, takes a huge toll. What starts out as thrillingly aggressive slowly turns into just painfully rough. That out of control feeling becomes uncontrolled. For the park, this means a never ending, expensive, and difficult cycle of maintenance. Carpenters spend every off season walking the track, replacing endless boards, just trying to chase down and fix the roughest parts. It's a fight against time and physics that they really can't win. For most guests, the ride turns into a brain rattler, something you put up with instead of enjoying. The popularity starts to drop, and the park is left with a tough choice. Do they pour a ton of money into maintaining the ride that fewer people want to go on? Or do they just let a classic legend fade away? Or maybe there's a third option. This is where a company from a small town in Idaho, Rocky Mountain Construction, or RMC, enters the picture and changes everything. They started out working on water park stuff before they turned their attention to roller coasters. They looked at these aging, beat up wooden giants not as problems, but as opportunities. And they came up with an idea that would spark one of the biggest debates in the coaster world. Their most famous creation is, of course, the iBox track, a patented all steel track that can be installed right on top of a wooden coaster's existing structure. The first and most famous big test of this was in 2011 with the Texas Giant at Six Flags Over Texas. The ride went from being a notoriously rough Woody to a super smooth, airtime packed machine that the park could advertise as a brand new. It was a huge success. After that, the floodgates opened. Parks all over the country lined up to give their old wooden coasters the RMC treatment. The best known example is probably Mean Streak at Cedar Point. For years, people ragged on it for being one of the roughest, most miserable wooden coasters ever built. In 2018, RMC worked their magic. They ripped off the old track, totally changed the layout using the original supports, and slapped down their iBox track. The result was Steel Vengeance, a record breaking monster that's now seen by pretty much everyone as one of the best roller coasters in the world. From a park's point of view, it's really a no brainer. They fix a massive maintenance headache, get a ride that's smoother and more dependable, and get to market a new world class attraction for way less money than building one from scratch. RMC Steel Track also lets them add things that are impossible on traditional Woodies, like crazy inversions and mind bending maneuvers. They aren't just fixing coasters, they're creating absolute monsters. This trend has pretty much dominated the coaster world for the last decade. It's a fascinating mix of engineering, money, and nostalgia. If you're enjoying this look into how roller coasters are evolving, please consider subscribing for more videos like this. Love digging into the nuts and bolts of what makes these incredible machines work. Which brings us back to Tremors. Now, unlike Mean Streak, Tremors was still a fan favorite. Its layout was considered almost perfect by a lot of enthusiasts. It didn't need a total redesign, it just needed to be saved from getting too rough. For this, RMC had another tool, their 208 retract system. This tech is basically a steel replacement for the top layers of wooden track, letting the coaster keep its original layout and original trains while getting the durability and smoothness of the steel track. Starting back in 2021, Silverwood began this major, what they call seismic upgrade, replacing the roughest parts of Tremors with the new 208 track from RMC. They continued to work over the next few seasons and also just recently added brand new trains from GCI to improve the ride and capacity. The result is a ride that is undeniably smoother, faster, and quieter. In fact, the change is so big now that it's sparked a huge debate among coaster fans about whether it can even be called a wooden coaster anymore. Even now on RCDB, it's listed as a hybrid and it's also listed as steel. And this is really the heart of the argument. On one side, you have people who see this as an evolution. Parks say they're saving these classic rides for a new generation. The layout, the history, the core feeling of flying through these drops and tunnels. It's all still there. The ride is now more fun for more people who were turned off by how bone rattling it was before. From this angle, the conversion gives an iconic coaster a new life, making sure it can keep thrilling riders for years to come. Darren Tor, the new head of RMC, points out that old Woodies need constant work and that over time, the ride just gets too rough for guests and too expensive to the park. The steel track fixes that. But on the other side, you've got the purists who argue that something vital has been lost. For them, a wooden coaster is a full body experience. It's the thunderous roar you can hear from the other side of the park. It's that violent shudder as the train slams into a turn. That feeling that you're fighting a living beast. It's that little bit of fear you get from the rickety, rattling journey. They argue that the steel track, no matter how great, sanitizes the ride. It makes it too smooth, too quiet, too predictable. The ride's unique personality, its wooden soul, is gone, replaced by something more generic, even if it is more comfortable. It's like the difference between seeing a raw, live rock band in a tiny club versus listening to their overproduced studio album. Both might be good, but only one has that wild, untamed energy. This group worries that if every classic wooden coaster eventually gets this steel treatment, the true Woody experience will become a thing of the past, something that we can only watch in old YouTube videos. The upgrade of Tremors isn't just a renovation, it's a symbol of the identity crisis facing one of the most loved types of amusement park rides. The technology from companies like RMC is brilliant. It's a logical, affordable, and popular fix to very real problems of aging wooden roller coasters. It saves classic layouts, cuts down on maintenance, and creates amazing rides that top best of lists. But what's the cost? With every conversion, we lose another authentic wooden coaster experience. That chaotic, rattling, slightly terrifying ride that was a rite of passage for so many is changing. And while the trend of turning wood to steel is powerful, wood is fighting back. Companies like GCI are still building new traditional woodies, and the Gravity Group is innovating with its engineered pre cut track. This 100% wood track is designed to be up to 30 times stronger than traditional track. The wood is cut with computer controlled precision at their facility, not by hand on site, which removes imperfections and results in a smoother, more durable ride that preserves the integrity of a true wooden roller coaster. This new tech has been used to refurbish parts of legendary coasters like the Racer and the Beast at Kings Island. So it all comes down to this. Is this a necessary evolution that lets classic coasters survive? Or is it slowly erasing a key piece of amusement park history, trading soul for smoothness? The story of Tremors and the counter innovations from within the wood coaster industry prove that there's no easy answer. A legend has been reborn, but its original identity is now just a memory. Now, I want to know what you think. Is the new, smoother Tremors an exciting upgrade that saved a classic, or is it a tragedy for wooden coaster purists? Are we truly seeing the end of wooden roller coasters as we know them? I want to know your thoughts down in the comments. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.